Hey, what's going on, guys? Alex here with Greenberg, and this is your weekly fishing report. Now, there's a couple things happening right now. I know it's getting cold and, it's windy out there, but there's still fishing going on out there, especially for striped bass. It's been a little bit of your typical, winterish pattern right now. A lot of those fish are way down south on those schools deep. And when we're talking about this, we're back to probably the same pattern of not last year, but the year before. Meaning anywhere from, Solomon's down to the mouth of the Potomac, Falls Channel on the eastern shore, 72, 72A, all around there. You're going to find schools of fish in, anywhere from 40 to 60 foot of water. You might see some birds. You might just find them on the sonar skinning all those ledges. Your typical stuff that you're going to do like we used to do back then. Heavy metals, 2-3 ounce metals, get them down deep. Sometimes you might need a heavier jig head if you're using plastics, 2 ounce jig heads. It depends on your drift. Most of the fish right now are on the mid-sized range. Now everybody's waiting to talk about this migratory fish like last year. Remember, guys, last year was the first year in like 10 years that happened. We're hoping it happens again. We're all, crossing our fingers, making sure that, hoping that that's going to happen. Right now, it's typical stuff. Most of your fish are going to be 20 to like 35 inches. 35 inches is a great fish right now. That's awesome. That's a great fish to catch right now. And once again, the light tackle stuff is primarily what you want to use out there. 10, 15 pound braid, get down deep, fast. Colors and jig heads and all that, I don't think it matters so much, but your plastics, I would say your typical chartreuse and white are always a safe bet. So, you go out there and use them and catch some of those fish. Trolling, also a great thing to do right now, especially down deep in those areas along those channel edges. You can cover more ground. You can actually get, be more productive when you're doing that. So, if you're going out there and you want to stay local, I would say some of the typical spots will be the hill right at Eastern Bay. Same thing, you're going to be fishing deep. So, skin around, drop some metal down, and bounce those points. If you're in some of these rivers, some of these hot water discharges are going to be key, especially in the Patapsco. That's going to be one of those areas where you have a lot of those. So search around those areas, you will find some of those fish. If they come in, I'm going to say maybe in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Everything's falling a little behind with some of those water temperatures staying pretty mild this season. It's just cooling down, so I'm hoping they're going to be here probably by New Year's. I know there's other stuff going on around too. Whenever you can get out there, I know that's kind of like what I've been doing when I can get out. Just fishing the creeks, right?
Yeah. So on the freshwater side, or even in your tidal creeks as well, pickerel is super hot right now. They're chasing anything that moves. You can throw little paddle tails, spinners, really anything that represents the bait fish that they're eating. You also may start finding some yellow perch up in the creeks. You can throw similar things at the yellow perch. You might just want to downsize it a little bit. Minnows, night crawlers, grass shrimp, if you can get your hands on them, are going to be a great option as well.
Like you're saying, talking about those baits, one of my favorite things for pickerel, especially me, searching for those bigger fish, I'm really excited about this guy here. This is line through shad paddle tail. It's going to be great because it literally looks just like the gizzard shad that they feed on this time of the year. So whether you're going to be fishing for pickerel, there might be some leftover resident rock fish in those creeks. It might hit this, and even largemouth. So this is going to be a great little bait for that.
Yep.
Another one is this little grub here, the micro finesse, guppy grub. It's going to be awesome for all your panfish, not just in the creeks but also in freshwater, right?
Yes. If you're fishing ponds or if you're fishing non-tidal streams, things like that, like Alex said, any of those small presentations are going to work great. You can go with the float and fly technique using one of these little VMC 1/32 ounce jigs. You put it under a bobber, you give it a little pop, and let that jig fall nice and slow. It represents a little bug or a little bait fish, things that your creek smallmouth, panfish, perch, all those type of things are feeding on.
That's one of my favorites there.
Yeah. In terms of some other stuff that's going on, Western Maryland, Central Maryland, some of your rivers and your cold water species are going to get a little bit more active this time of year. Smallmouth being one of them. Now, you're going to want to target a little bit deeper than you would in the summer. They're going to be holding deep, so something you can use to get there is this 1/2 ounce Tech jig. It's a nice small finesse profile for the winter time, while also having enough weight to keep you on the bottom out in some of those deeper holes. If you wanted to go for another species besides smallmouth, you head up some of your rivers like the Potomac, you can go after walleye. Now the walleye are feeding on minnows and shad, just like a lot of your other predatory species. They really go crazy for a curly tail grub, something just like a plain old white Mr. Twister. 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce head, depending how deep you're fishing, would be a really good option if you want to get on some walleye.
Yep, and then talking about some spots where you guys can go over to and do these things. Remember, there's so many areas that you can fish freshwater around here. All you gotta do is make a little bit of a drive. For you guys here in Annapolis, is maybe 30 to 45 minutes, and you get into some of these beautiful areas. So Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, there's plenty of things to do. Go on there to the Maryland DNR website. There's so many information in that website where they can show you maps, areas where you can fish. A couple of my favorite ones locally is going to be Tuckahoe across the Bay Bridge. You can fish a lake or the stream and get into a whole bunch of different things. And then just one other spot, like you mentioned, walleye. One of my favorite ones that I think it's one of the easiest for me to go to is right underneath the Quandamingo Dam and just cast some of those grubs like he showed you, and you can get into some of those walleye there and some other species. So there's plenty of things to do, guys. Just remember, research some of those areas and you can get to them pretty easily. And I think that's it for your fishing report. You guys have a good one.